What's up, everybody? Today I want to talk about the C word. That's right, it's a word that affects us all, that affects every part of our lives. It affects our worldview, it affects our relationships, and of course I'm talking about context. Ooh, context is a word that a lot of people don't like. Why? Because context keeps us straight. Context keeps us within the ring that we're supposed to be in. It keeps us informed. It keeps our worldview informed. It keeps our relationships informed. And when we are not in context, well, our worldview is no longer informed, our relationships are not informed, which makes us uninformed people, which you do not want to be uninformed. And today I want to talk about context and the context of the Bible. How we understand the Bible. It is a work of antiquity. Any ancient writings that we need to understand, and that is exactly what the Bible is, a work of antiquity. And there's lots of ways to understand context. So we can, here's the thing, be informed about that thing. Right? Here's one. Who wrote the particular book that you are fixing to quote a scripture from? Whether you're using it for good or for bad, who wrote it? What was their deal? Who are the people that author was sending it to? What was their deal? What was the culture like that they were in? What were the things that were going on in that culture at that time? What about that smaller group of people inside that culture that author was writing to? What was happening there? Because that probably had a really big thing to do with why that author was writing to those people. Now, those are things we need to understand. Something else that we need to understand is this language. Language is huge. Now, listen. Translation is not interpretation. These are two different things. They sound alike. They sound like there's some crossover there. We use the terms interchangeably. Sometimes they are not the same. Translation is what these people said. Interpretation is what they meant. See? Not the same things at all. So we need to understand when there are translations of an ancient language or a different language, they can take a word and go, yes, this is the correct word that matches up with the modern day, let's say English. And they go, yep, this is the correct word. However, we need to understand that just because we use this particular word in a certain way does not mean that is exactly how they used that word. There could be similar meanings. It could be overlapping meanings. They could be completely different meanings. There could be a lot of other meanings that word could mean. So we have to do word studies to understand the context of what's going on so we can know exactly what is happening. Context is key for everything in our lives, including reading the scripture. Whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, you need to have context. And listen, back to the front of the video, if you're a type of a person that, well, you're offended that I used the term C word, well, you missed the context of this video, and this video was for you. Hey, you can't use that term, man. You mean the term context? Not that term, the other term. That's not what I said. You know that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. You know that's not what I meant. So this is really not a me problem. This is a you problem. Well, just the same, man, you just can't be using that thing out of context. Out of what? Out of what? Context. Oh, and speaking of you, let's talk about the U word.